Hello and welcome to the Guru Code podcast for the business leader. It feels like an age since I've done a podcast, and it is definitely over the month. But what a good one to come back with, because this month I want to talk about and really want to debunk the phrase mindset mastery, because I hate the thought of its true value being overlooked, lost by us all, when this is exactly what we all need. You will have seen and heard of the term mindset mastery being bandied around on just about every social media platform, especially if you follow coaches. But it's become almost like a bit of a buzz phrase, hasn't it? Along with many other fashionable terms such as mindfulness and well-being, both of which, in my opinion, are just two of the positive byproducts of mind mastery. So it really puts mind mastery in my head at grandfather level. It's the grandfather rights, isn't it? For the business owner, though, it can feel really out of reach amongst all the other seemingly more important pressures that we have to deal with every day in our business, and it becomes a bit more like white noise. But I'm here to shout it out so loudly that this is not woo-woo. This is not something to just tinker with and move on. Your mindset is absolutely your most valuable and powerful business asset. And it doesn't have an invoice attached to it, you know? So I want to start off by talking about mastery. Mastery of your own destination. Accountability, which many of us have shied away from, and yet it is all about freedom and choice. It's about that ownership. Imagine the magic of being able to back yourself 100% every day, no question. Imagine having that business leader that you really admire in your head, by your side, every step of the way. This is the mastery that I think we should all be seeking. The skill, and I talk about it as a skill, but I also say, and I would argue, that it becomes a real art form, but it comes with practice. It is not a passive exercise, nor is it an academic exercise. It's all about implementation. When you first learnt to ride a bike, perhaps you were a little bit wobbly, maybe a bit more than just a little bit wobbly, but certainly apprehensive at start, about stopping at junctions, doing anything other than one foot after the other, pedaling those pedals round and focusing on the direction of travel, which undoubtedly was straight to start with, but after practice, you progress, taking jumps, tricks. Maybe if you had an older brother or an older sister or some daredevil friends, you started making ramps and things like that. But eventually you got to that stage where you go, ooh, no hands. That is mastery. And we can do it with our minds. And that, I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, I find really exciting to have that amount of ownership over my thinking, my thoughts. And basically, that's what always comes before any action. Now, the best way I've thought about this, was mastery. The best way I've thought about this is because of my love of the coast, and I think about the coastline and those cliffs. When those cliffs collapse, you can see the different sedimentary rocks, can't you, of all the layers of what's gone up on to really build it. And that's no different from your mindset. So I've used the same sort of analogy, really, by breaking down the term mindset. Because when you do that, just like in the cliffs, you start seeing the characteristics, your values, your beliefs, your paradigms that, actually go to create that successful leader, a natural leader in life. So let's start. M. M is for me. I heard an excerpt from a speech which was given in the 1960s, by an American motivational speaker, Bill Gove. Now, he was speaking to a packed auditorium full of businessmen, But I thought it really, really rings true in so many areas. So he said, if I want to be free, I have to be me. Not the me I think you think I should be. Not the me I think my wife thinks I should be. Not the me I think my kids think I should be. Not the me I think my colleagues think I should be. No. If I want to be free, I've got to be me. So I had better know who me is. This, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely the beating heart of natural leadership. This is the only way to get the best out of you, the best for your business, your life, and your employees. You know, if you can strip it down and honestly become that open to being free, we've got it. We've got that nugget that we've all been searching for. It's where effort becomes easy, where confidence and competence flow without resistance. It's where your why resides alongside your beliefs and your values, and they will be the beliefs and values that you have chosen to hold. You know, what we carry around in our minds gets fully projected in Technicolor to the world in front of us. Now, Jim Rohn, and anybody who's listened to me before or followed any of my posts, you will know that Jim Rohn to me is going to be one of the VIPs that I would invite to my dinner table. You know that question you get asked, you know, if you could have 10 people at your dinner table, dead or alive, who would you have? Jim Rohn would be one of them. Now, he once said, work hard on your business and you'll earn a living. Work hard on yourself, you will make millions. Without you, you don't have a business. So let's start working on you. Let's treasure what you have. So our next letter is I, inspirational, not motivational. And I want to be really clear on the difference here. To be inspired or to be inspiring is all about the long haul and will promote that exponential growth that we all seek. Doesn't matter who you are, we're all seeking it. It's the one which will see you through thick and thin. It's to a business owner, it's the thermal uplift of a migrating bird. Okay? Motivation, on the other hand, is great, but it's like a sugar high. It's like the kick from an energy drink. It's the sprint rather than the marathon. It's all over in a flash. If you're old enough like me, or you love vintage cars, you'll remember the choke. The choke to start the cold engine, the overdrive to help you get that kick, that extra power, so you can overtake. Short-lived thrill of the overtake in those days was wonderful, and the grunt from the engine was wonderful. But neither of those do the engine any good for any length of time. You always had to then come back again. Now, think about those who inspire you. Identify the qualities that they have, because they will already be part of you. They'll be in there, sitting, dormant. Maybe dormant. That was very rude of me. It might not be dormant. But they'll be already in there, because like attracts like. But it's your job to recognize it and start really using it so that other people can see it too. Mastering your mindset is all about that accountability, being firmly in that driving seat, being the cause of your success and your learning, not at the effect of others. I used to, a great quote in the monthly musings of the Hygge Hut. If you're a sign up member, you'll already recognise it. But it's about a month or so ago back. But I said, if you don't run your day, someone else will. And business leaders do not belong in the back seat, do they? That's where a lot of PAYE sit, because that's where they belong. That's where they do their good work. But as a business owner and a leader, we can't do it from the back seat. Just check which seat you're sitting in when you are feeling frustrated or your plans are not materializing well. You'll only see the full picture when you move to the front. So just check in. See where you're sitting. N, notable. This is often a bit of a stumbling block for many, many business owners, certainly the ones that I've met over my time. New and more experienced, it doesn't matter. It's almost like you're waiting for someone to hopefully notice you. It sort of almost goes back to that paradigm, doesn't it? If you're nice and you sit nice and quietly and wait your turn. We can't really do that anymore. Not in today's world. It's not about keeping your fingers crossed and making wild wishes. If they don't recognize, if they're not seeing your great offering and the performance, it's a dangerous game to wait. Don't gag yourself. It's a noisy, noisy world. It's about everyone's trying to make their way and become successful, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you just have to be with it. Being prepared to stand outside of your comfort zone. Being accepting of the undoubtedly somebody will criticise and there will be judgments, and that's all part and parcel of it too, and potential rejection. But like I say, it's part of the course, but it's where we grow. It's where we go and check ourselves out, because if those judgments or criticisms make sense, it's for us to go and see and make sure that we have dealt with whatever it is that's been seen. It's not always a negative. So, it's not even about being thick-skinned, and it definitely isn't about becoming arrogant, as one of my clients' fears was being arrogant. In fact, when you work on yourself, and I suggest maybe rewind, go back and have a look at that Bill Gove speech, because I think it holds massive keys in there for what it truly means for us. You will find that allowing yourself to be humble, transparent, vulnerable, and imperfect gives you the most amazing power and an amazing sense of freedom to do and change on a sixpence. It's the opposite of arrogance and the overinflated importance that we all don't want to be criticised for. To become simple and uncomplicated and extraordinarily authentic. Now, Marianne Williams, I don't know if you've ever seen any of her quotes, but I bet you would recognise them when you do. And this is one of my absolute favourites that come back over and over again when I'm talking to leaders. When we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. I mean, it's not our job to play small. It's not what we were born for. So let's move on to D. D is all about destination. As one of my coaches said to me, clarity over certainty. It's how we maintain growth and momentum. There is something very attractive about being in the company of a person who knows where they're heading. There's an air of competence, confidence, a calmness, a collectedness in their approach to every day. It just is a pleasure to be around somebody like that. And I think you'll all know somebody who can do that, but it is a real experience. So, to go a little bit towards the woo-woo again, I nearly apologised to you, and I don't want to apologise because it's not about an apology. But there is an energy around them which is easy to be in. When we talk about law of attraction, it is that magnetism. It's the moth around the light bulb metaphor. It's the pull of gravity. But it all comes from the mindset. It's where it starts. Every single time. You're full of electricity. So don't ignore it. Use it for the right reasons. So S is for self. This is all about personal development and investment you make in you to gain that self-awareness. We could probably all pick out someone in our network who you might say lacks self-awareness at times. No one's perfect. This is not about perfectionism. This is just about that awareness so you can adjust yourself. You can pull yourself back or come forward a bit more. It's all about that gentle adjustments. If you think about an aircraft and their flight path, it's never straight, ever. So it is about those small adjustments. That's where self-awareness comes in. Self-awareness is part of the foundations of great, successful leadership. When it comes to the multiple hats that you wear as a business owner and a leader, understanding where your strengths lie and how you respond will help you ask for help in order to upskill or get somebody else with better skills in. It's delegation time. You can't do it all yourself, but that self-awareness will keep you absolutely focused. So I'm going to move on to E now. E for empowered. Okay. This is about being at cause in your life, not effect. Now I've touched on that slightly earlier, but this is gold dust. Okay, if you are the cause of your life and not at the effect, when you accept full responsibility, no matter what, and I mean no matter what, you retain power of what happens next. Okay, it's often one of the toughest conversations to have with clients, but when you stop pointing the finger and saying, if only they, if the political and all the rest of it, you start changing your questions, and that way you alter your approach. Thought comes before action, and this is where we're talking about it. So take the example of needing increased revenue, for instance. To increase something requires you to do something extra. Take extra action. So stepping up and changing gear is being at cause of increasing revenue. But continuing to do what you've always done, and customer flow doesn't change, services don't change, how are you expecting that revenue to increase? It's simple, isn't it? I mean, this is not rocket science, but it's just lovely to strip it down and make it really conscious, because then we start doing something differently once we recognize it. Listen, we have all been there. The customers didn't come. No one wants my service. But to actually ask yourself, okay, what did you do to create excitement? What did you do to draw in those customers that's different from last time? And they're the sort of things that we then start answering, because then we can take absolute cause for. Those bumps in the road, I would be lying to you if I said I didn't fall into exactly the same blame game trap every now and again. Of course we do, but it's how we get out of it. It's how quickly do we respond to it. It's almost like, something's going to flood, but actually if you're there waiting for the tap to turn off, you're going to lessen the damage and the impact. That's all we're saying. So let's move on to T, and this is for thought leadership. And thought leadership is about that willingness to share opinions, even if you're in the minority. It's about being willing to disrupt the status quo in the advancement of understanding. Okay, so it's for the right reasons. It's about having an awareness of the ecology of our field of influence, and create those new opportunities. Every decision should create so many more options. Every conversation should be about advancing the topic you're speaking about rather than closing it down. Researchers do this every single day. The entrepreneurs, that are true entrepreneurs, who are really thinking of different things and different ways of doing this, are great thought leaders. The inventors in our garden sheds that beaver away all the time. These are our Isaac Newtons, our Einsteins, our Nelson Mandelas, our Gandhis of tomorrow. These are the people who will absolutely leave a legacy. A thought leader should seek to open discussions, finding new perspectives to share. I think about your service, your products, your underpinning why. In there, you must seek your thought leadership. What angle are you taking? As that's what will elevate you from the madding crowds. And one of the things that's always stumped me is when people say, what is your differential? There is where it sits, right there. When you discover it, it's about being consistent so that your customers can hear your voice and really, so it's recognizably you. Now, I found a Twitter post from a chap called Adam Grant. He's an author and a researcher. I don't know him from Adam. I just stumbled across him looking for something else. And he said, creating knowledge without sharing it is elitism. Sharing knowledge without creating it is marketing. Creating knowledge for the purpose of sharing is thought leadership. Oh, haven't we got it? We're all budding thought leaders. We just need to do more of it. So you can see, I hope, that your mindset is so much more than just a noun. It is very much a verb. It's all about action. It's all about attitude. By breaking it down, you start to really begin to understand how you can master each one of the elements in bite-sized pieces that will make it an art form for you, I hope. That's it from me this month. I hope that's been enjoyable. I hope it's inspired you to think of different things in your own life, your own business, your own teams, whatever it is you're doing, to really consider just what treasures that you have, that you can start working on, that nobody else owns. It's all yours. Let me know how you feel. My email, as always, will be in the show notes at the bottom. And I hope to see you again. Bye for now.